In New York City, on the last Sunday in June, Fifth Avenue is the rainbow-striped center of the universe. A colorful celebration born of a dark incident, where patrons at Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village revolted against violence and persecution by the police, giving birth to the modern-day gay liberation movement. Nearly 50 years later, that movement has evolved into a full-fledged gender revolution, right down to the clothes on our backs.
So this is one of the pieces that we are currently selling from my brand here. This piece can be worn back to pants on someone who identifies as a man, but can also be worn very versatile with just one easy thing of like a belt to create the versatile tunic and turn it into like a dress for a woman if they were to choose to wear this piece.
I'm Christina Zervanos, director of the Phluid project, the world's first gender-free store. Phluid is spelled with a PH because the PH is meant to identify the balance of masculine and feminine, and project is realizing the idea that this is an ongoing project and the gender revolution is exactly that. And we are just here to be a safe space and a community center to support that idea. In a dark day of political gloom and doom, we want to take away from that negativity and really offer language that makes people feel good and feel at home and feel, again, in a safe environment.
The exciting thing right now is that there's a movement happening, and the movement is about gender and how gender is expressed through identity. And the goal of the Phluid project is to participate in the movement in a way that we can create a space for people to come together and really unite in the idea that gender's over, essentially, not grounded on, you know, the binary strictly male or female, but about a community and a world and society that's basically gender-free.
I'm Emma Leggett, and I'm an artist and the designer behind Official Rebrand, which is my non-binary label that transforms clothing that people have discarded and repurposes them free of gender constraints and gives them a whole new life. The goal of the whole project is about challenging expectations and letting people explore their full potential as opposed to limiting them or telling them what they're supposed to like or what they're supposed to do or who they're supposed to love.
Changing clothes is easy. Changing minds is another battle, particularly when it comes to the educational front.
We absolutely are in the midst of a gender revolution, and I think the end of it is actually sooner than we realize. My name is Jamey. I use they, them, their pronouns. I'm the Education Associate here at GLSEN, which is the leading organization fostering safe and affirming environments for K-12 schools. So over here we have our research team, which publishes a biennial National School Climate Survey. This is our map of our chapters. We have 39 functioning chapters and about 4 steering committees.
So I was struck by something on the website.
Okay.
GLSEN describes itself as a movement of action takers and change makers. What's the action and the change?
So GLSEN focuses on what we call our 4 supports. And that is inclusive and comprehensive school policies, that is supportive educators, it's inclusive curriculum, and it's student-led clubs. And so in our research, we see that when those four supports are present and active in schools, the performance of all students go up, the inclusivity of all students go up, and just the general school climate increases.
GLSEN has 49 chapters across the country, but there is also a broader network of individuals working to make gender nonconforming young people feel safe and affirmed.
I don't think that I've ever spoken with a gender identity justice educator. It's a hell of a job title.
Well, it's not my job title. It's what Ted Med decided to call me. But I have become kind of that person right now in my field. And I didn't choose it. I think just the type of work that I've done has helped carve that out. It's creating these spaces for people to come forward and identify however they want and even change that from day to day.
So that would beg the question, how do teachers negotiate that shifting ground that seemingly changes from week to week?
I just put a pilot together. I interviewed 12 trans and gender non-binary youth in New York City, and I have a documentary on that.
With an estimated 150 to 200,000 self-identified trans youth in schools, we have a lot of work to do. But you can and will change those stories.
I just hope that kids can feel comfortable in their school, and that I think that someday that's gonna be how it is for everyone.
Everybody should feel that they matter, that they're cared about, and that they're loved. You know, when we look at the students that are leaving schools who are gender nonconforming and trans or gender complex, it's because the school isn't speaking to them. And what's happening then is we are creating a population of people that are suffering when we're not attending to their needs.
In our state snapshot of New York state experiences of school climate for LGBTQ students, we actually see that 3 in 5 transgender students are actually prohibited from using the restroom that matches their gender identity. And similarly, over half of transgender and gender nonconforming students are unable to use their preferred name or pronouns in a school setting, and that's in the state of New York. So I think it's important to remember just like the basic things that young people, transgender young people need, such as using their names and pronouns, using the facilities that match their gender, are things that aren't currently being done everywhere in New York City, everywhere in New York State. So just creating those very basic forms of equality, forms of access for transgender students is really important.
And we need to wake people up. You know, we are in a gender revolution, and the youth are changing right now. They're changing so fast and so rapidly. I don't want to ever see a student take their life because school doesn't speak to them or society doesn't speak to them. That is unacceptable.
Do you have a message that maybe you would have liked to heard when you were a kid?
We get to self-determine our identities, and that is what's so important. Each and every person has a right to self-determination.